I've been to the dark side and I've returned. I was in a place where I didn't think I was going to have a career or even make it out. But here I am, stronger than I was before. And not only that, but also dragging as many people as I can forward with me.
Hi, welcome to TLC Connections podcast. My name's Julie Knudsen. I'm the Director of Development here and will be your host for today's podcast. And today we're joined by Craig Tinneny, a 911 dispatcher in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Someone whose calm voice has supported countless people during some of their most overwhelming moments. As a dispatcher, Craig is not only coordinating emergency response, but also helping callers manage fear, stress, and uncertainty in real time. In this episode, we'll explore the mental and emotional toll of being a behind-the-scenes first responder, the impact this work has on the community, and what it takes to care for your own mental health while supporting others in crisis. We're grateful to have Craig with us to shed light on the role that is essential, demanding, and often unseen. So thank you so much, Craig, for joining today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, I guess I'm so interested. I do think this is going to be such an interesting topic. Like we all hear 911, 911, but who's behind that phone? And you're that guy.
Yeah, it's me, it's you. It's just everyday people that do a job ultimately.
But what a job. And how long have you been doing this?
I've been in 911 for 16 years with Montgomery County.
And I guess I'm just going to ask a little bit of background getting into that, but I think I want to jump into the meat of things of even how you and I have met really with your passion in supporting first responders. And in the intro and, kind of learning more about you and your role, when we say the unseen responder, sometimes we think of police and firefighters, but not the 911 dispatchers. So
yeah, we're forgotten about. And it's understandable. Police, fire, EMS, they're the ones that show up. They're the ones that you see. They're the ones that you resonate with for good and for bad. And oftentimes that connection that you first reach when you call 911 is often overlooked. And it's unfortunate, but I understand.
It's great to be understanding. And I'm sure we'll get to also your sharing your personal journey because you've been candid about that and how we actually got to know each other saying, I still want to move forward and help support first responders, including 911 dispatchers. Because
Absolutely.
if you can talk about the toll this job takes on you.
It does. You don't really think about it. And I know I for sure did not think about it. So I'm a veteran and I got out of the Army and I thought I took this job with 911. I was tired of being in the element. I didn't want to be spit on or shot at or carry a vest or a gun anymore. So for once in my life, I decided I was going to sit in the air condition and enjoy. But having that machismo and having that bravado of, I can handle this, it's no problem. I would say about 8.5, 9 years into my career, I wasn't taking care of myself mentally. I wasn't taking care of myself psychologically. And I started to really get beat up. And there was a point where I had taken a few very bad calls during the summer. And a lot of it had to do with infants, some drowning incidents. And then I took my own sister-in-law's fatal overdose call. And that was the first time in my career that it wasn't just a shadow on the other end of the line. It was an actual, I knew the location, I knew the person talking, I knew the victim. And after the call.
Was that just a coincidence? Like you happened to be working?
I was working and I was one of about 30 people in the center and my phone rang. And that was it.
So that culmination after some tragic infant calls.
That culmination with not taking care of myself, not even thinking about myself.
That's what I was wondering. Did you know at that point? Like sometimes you don't think, I'm stressed, this is weighing on me.
I had no idea. No. Let me ask you a question, Julie. Why is the adage, it's a straw that breaks the camel's back? Mm-hmm. Is the camel weak?
No, but I guess like you felt, at one point did you realize, I'm just not sitting in air conditioning. This stuff is intense.
Sure. Well, this is it. The reason
8 years later?
The reason why a straw breaks a camel's back is because the camel is already carrying 5 tons of things on its back. So all it takes is a light straw to break it.
But your back was hurting, I guess. I'm taking these calls. You
No.
just thought, okay.
No idea. It's Monday, it's Tuesday, it's just business, go home. I'm not taking anything home. So I thought. Mm-hmm. But mentally, I was absolutely taking things home. It was after that call and I finally got hit. I actually logged off my phone and put my headset down and I was like, yeah, that's it. That's my career. I'm done. I had no idea what to feel. I was utterly and completely in a tailspin. I left. I talked to my organization and my leaders, and I said I need some time off. At that time that I did that, it was really unheard of in our center for someone to do that. It was either you're in or you're out. But I walked back and I said, I need time. Mm-hmm. And they granted it. And it was just check-ins, make sure you check in. It wasn't an exorbitant amount of time. It was maybe about 3 to 4 weeks I was off total.
But did you know what you were going to do during that
time?
No
idea. No.
Did you talk to somebody? Did you know you needed mental health support?
I did. Yeah. I knew I was lost.
Yeah.
I started to get into very dark places. And I'm very candid on what I would think about. I felt so broken and lost at the time that things came up like, would my family actually be better off without me? Or how can I end myself and my family still get benefits? I mean, these are thoughts through my mind.
Did you express them at that point to anybody, your wife?
No, absolutely not. No, but I started to withdraw. And it was causing bad home life. It was causing bad, and my children, my wife. So I got the EAP form and I called the EAP representatives and they said, are you suicidal? And I was like, well, no. All right, well, somebody will be in touch. I was like, what? Oh, okay. Somebody will be in touch. I mean, they're giving me a list of counselors and that's fine, but.
Had you been in counseling before?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't really understand, but when they throw a whole dossier in front of you and there's 500 pictures and 500 names, and I'm just like, I'm not in this shape to go through this.
Right, to vet therapist.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have no idea. So do and pick one. I again advocated for myself. And at this point, I didn't even know what advocacy was. I didn't even know how to spell it, what it meant, or anything. But I called them back and I was like, listen, do you guys have anything for veterans or first responders? Because I don't know what these people are. So they're like, well, it's going to take a minute, but let us look through and shorten a list for you. And they came across this gentleman in Pottstown who had worked with veterans. So no first responders, no first responder workers, but we'll take veterans. So I was like, okay. I worked with him and he was great. And, you know, he was really the one that first started with revealing that I was okay. I was a normal person having normal reactions to abnormal circumstances. Right. And it was through his help that I was able to kind of cement myself into a better place. But it wasn't until Michelle Monzo and the Critical Incident Stress Management team from Montgomery County, or the CISM team, actually somebody had placed a call from work for me to introduce me to these folks.
So tell me a little about that. Did you even know what that was going to be? And I just going to go back. It's really interesting, like the abnormal working. I've been fortunate enough now to do a lot of work with Lincoln Center with first responders. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the right word is, but it is abnormal. The day-to-day job when you're like, that's just what I do. It's not what people do every day to hear and see these things.
No, and the human body is not built.
Correct, yeah.
Absolutely, which is why it's such a small percentage of society, or else more people would do it. 60% of the population would be police, fire, EMS. Absolutely. Yeah. But it's not.
So you don't even know CISM. You haven't heard this term, or have you?
I had heard CISM in training, but I thought that it would have to be 4 downed officers holding 5 dead babies in a burning building. And only after a traumatic incident like that could I then seek help. And oh my gosh, if I have to seek help, what, are they going to activate like a team of 50 people just for me? I was like, no, not an option. I had no idea about peer support. I had no idea about CISM. I had no idea about any of that.
So does this team like literally come to you?
Yeah, they're literally a group of real life superheroes for the superheroes.
That show up at the call center?
So yeah, at the time, so peer support. So what it is, Michelle had taken me on one-on-one. And at the time she was a very big proponent of it. And she really didn't know dispatch. She works with police, fire, and EMS. And again, we were lost at this time. We were a lost entity at this time, the dispatch world, that is. So she came along, but she basically took what Mr. Barry, the psychiatrist or psychological male that I'd spoken to before, taken what he had given and just really cranked it up to 100. Personal accountability, understanding, like almost to the point where it's like, look at the job you do. What do you expect to happen?
We brought it way down, like kind of normalizing these reactions. Yeah.
You're not normal.
Yeah.
But that's okay. And through the personal accountability and that. And
what do you mean personal accountability?
Take care of yourself. Stop being stupid. Stop thinking that you're above it.
Got
and
it.
also the most important thing is you're not alone. There's a roster of police officers, firefighters, paramedics that are all messed up in one way or another, but are able to, here, let me introduce you to this group. And then she introduced me to the group. Police
so
officers,
you had been feeling isolated and alone, thinking no one else is thinking what I'm thinking or feeling?
Absolutely. Oh, I'm on an island. I was completely on an island. But meeting the group and then learning their stories and where they had come from and things that they had experienced. We're talking about people that have been through the worst of the worst. But here they are sitting in front of me with a big smile on their face and loud laughter. And I'm like, well, what right do I have to complain?
Well, it's all relative. You're still struggling, but it felt like it shifted your perspective. Like
100% perspective shift. Because when you see someone, it's hard to say. You have individuals that do dynamic things in person and put up with things in person. And I mean, we're talking about officers being shot. We're talking about officers having to use their firearms, paramedics and firefighters having to work with deceased or dying children and infants.
But are you comparing to what you do to the different scale of like actually showing up physically?
I guess that's kind of the route that my mind took it.
Does it still?
Absolutely. No, to a fact, my hat is always off to the first responders that are actually out there in the field that have to put up with this. It's just different.
It's different. I don't think there's more or less. I mean, to hear, and I know we've talked a little bit, like some of the calls you're talking to a parent trying to resuscitate a child. I mean, so yes, you're on a phone line, which means even feeling maybe a little bit more helpless or the degree of trauma or the intensity. Again, tremendous respect, but it's interesting. You're feeling, well, I'm not in the field. I'm not there in person.
Sometimes I wish I was, because I think that would be a little bit easier, because trying to get someone to operate third party from over a phone line is sometimes an impossible task, but you do the best you can. And
so regardless in the scope of or the scheme of things, you're meeting a team that have all now been vulnerable to talk about what you're seeing, what you've experienced and the impact, and you're not alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? You're okay. Because here's my number, and here's my number, and here's my number, and here's my number, and here's my number. And if you don't feel good or you don't feel right, reach out. Reach out. Absolutely.
Do you still?
Absolutely. Every day.
Yeah.
I mean, every day I'm talking to at least one member on the team. And if not, I'm kind of like the Papa Bear, always checking in on people. And a team like that still works the main job, but then goes and takes the stress off of a critical incident from another first responder. We have to make sure that we're okay in order to keep doing this for other first responders. You're taking on what these people are experiencing. Yeah.
So there's so many questions there. How do you mitigate that then? Your vicarious trauma, like what you're taking on and now being Papa Bear. How do you
talk it out? Talk it out. I was a lot more closed before. Always loud, but closed.
Yeah.
Right. And
no content, no substance. No.
Yeah. It was just,
I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm good. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm good. No, I don't know this person. I didn't know that person.
So you're both ways. You seek support if you need to talk to somebody, and you make sure you're checking in on your colleagues now. Just
absolutely
someone you can talk to.
But also my what keeps me going, and my kids refer to it as the bat symbol. When the bat symbol goes up, Daddy's going for a little while, and I'm going to a debriefing for police, fire, EMS, and from a critical incident. But that helps me. Helping them helps me because I know that I can help them not be in that place that I was, feeling isolated, alone with the thoughts that I had and the situation that I was in. So if I can do that for another first responder,
Right. Kind of fills your bucket up again.
100%.
But then I want to back that up. So you obviously went through training after the team supported you.
Yeah.
I guess there was part of you said like,
They supported me.
I want to get in.
Well, yeah, that is truly the only way that I could repay them. And Michelle and the upper support staff. And right around the time that she had, pulled me out of the hole, they were revamping the group. And they went from being an entity of, my initial assessment of the original team wasn't wrong, but they were more focused on large trauma events like Hurricane Katrina or 9/11, things of great magnitude. But there was officers taking their own lives in our county. So Michelle brought a more no-nonsense approach to it, to stop focusing on the exterior and let's look at ourselves. Let's look at our own first responders. And it was brought in more people that were willing to not so much go to those great events outside of our borders, but really work within, and said, we'd love you to be a part of it. So I went and I got trained and I became a part of it. And one of the best things I've ever done.
And how long ago was that?
10 years.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And so when there's critical incidents, and just strictly Montgomery County, do you go other places?
I've worked with SEPTA before out of Philadelphia. I mean, if the need, our team is so efficient that the need comes from all over. And we have such dynamic, real people. I mean, there's the people that sit there and there's the people that read and have, I don't know, the paper coming out of their ears. I got this on my resume and this on my resume. But every single person that I look at on the team currently has been in the trenches and know what it's like to be wounded. And they're still survivors today. So I guess we all take the survivor mentality. We're going to continue moving forward, and we're going to continue moving you forward. We're not going to sit back and commiserate that this happened to us. And, it's the victim versus survivor mentality. And it's a group that refuses to be victims.
Right. And it's to get ahead of being traumatized, re-traumatized. I mean, I actually went through the training. I haven't sat in on a debriefing. But I so respect, that we've talked again, just so passionate about, because I really believe, like, for my lane, or this work is so purposeful, because if first responders are well, we're well, the community
at large.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And
Absolutely.
I think for the community at large to understand, to know, at least, thank goodness, this program exists. Now with Lincoln Center and departments, we're embedding mental health professionals just for first responders in departments, which is amazing. Doing more trainings, other things. But I know that your passion and your interest and your expertise is in the CISM and being part of a CISM team. Just to break that down, like, how many, when there's an incident, who gets called? How do you get deployed? Like, what's the follow-up?
So, I mean, it goes by your note. In a perfect world, every critical incident, regardless of what it is, officer has to draw a firearm, child death or traumatic call, that we would be automatically triggered. But it's not that. The departments, it really comes from good leadership in the departments.
They're the ones that had to request, like command
They're
staff?
the ones that request, the command staff. So the command staff that are really built up and buy into good mental health for their people, regardless of what their agency is, are the ones that notify us. And then our team will then send out a page. It's all volunteer work. So they'll send out a page to a group of people to see who is available. And availability is the best ability in this type of work, because if you're not available, you're really not.
But if you're on shift, you can't respond.
If
you don't
I'm on shift,
you don't get to leave.
That's right. I don't get to leave. There have been some instances where I was at work and I did leave because there was no leaders available. So they needed someone to lead the debrief. So I asked work, and it kind of marries hand in hand, because, again, I dispatch from behind the scenes to agencies, but if we're not taking care of our people, then who do we have to dispatch if we have no firefighters or police officers on the street? We're out of a job. So it's imperative for them to be at their best, so we have work as well. But so and then it trickles down, and then a team is assembled and gathered. And I mean, it all depends on how big's the debriefing, how many people were affected by the incident. Sometimes it could be a room of 3 officers. Sometimes it's a whole department, depending on what the what you're talking
And
about with the incident.
officers, it can be a little tough to open up. Is that your magic, or because of the peer relationship makes it, do you get the room to start talking?
Yes. Yeah. But they call me their chameleon because I can talk to police, fire, EMS dispatchers. Before me, it was, oh, you're a dispatcher. Well, every time a dispatch incident comes up, we'll let you know. It's like, I want more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean you want more? When do I get to talk to the police officers? When do I get to talk to the firefighters? When did I get to talk? No. Police only talk to police. Fire only talk to fire. Why?
Yeah.
I have a different mindset. It's just, so my secret is, and my key is, and my takeaway that I would want to teach anybody about this is remove the job description. Officer, take off your badge, put down your gun. Firefighter, get out of your truck, put down your hose. EMTs, drop the narcotics in the paddles. I don't run into burning buildings. I don't arrest people at gunpoint. I don't do those things, right? But what I am is a human being that has very intimate knowledge with trauma. You now are a human being that's been through a traumatic experience. Let's meet on that field. Let's communicate. Let's improve, get better, and heal.
That's awesome. And so you kind of anticipatory guidance in our language, clinically, a little bit what to expect, like these things may happen if you experience this, like
Absolutely.
you do a lot of that.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then do you connect with further resources, support if people,
Yeah, the support. I mean, the support is lengthy. Not me personally. We will meet with the initial debrief, and then we'll follow up as much as possible going forward. Again, it depends. Are we talking about? It really depends on how, I don't want to say tragic, but how critical the incident is,
or how I guess one is impacted, right? By
how
it.
one
So
is impacted, right?
If there's substance abuse comes up, I'm saying for the responder, will you help connect through rehab or through a therapist?
We will refer. Yeah. Sometimes it takes a hug and a high five. Sometimes it may take outside professional talking in sessions. Sometimes it may take medication or a combination of all three. But we're not the type we're not on the team to say, oh, this guy needs medication, we're out.
Yeah, it's a follow-up, or I'm still struggling. Or
we have to do it.
So how many debriefings or CISM intervention support with 911? You talk about the other instances, fire, police, EMS, but like you said, the unsung behind the scene that are experiencing this, is that often or infrequent, or?
They've done a really good job with not forgetting 911. And I'm not sure if that's, I don't want to take any pride for it or claiming it, but ever since I've been on the team, it's been, don't forget 911. So an example would be, if an officer is injured on duty, they'll make sure that the police department involved is there for the wounded officer. The paramedics, of course, will be there that worked with the officer. But then they're also starting to ask, how's the dispatcher?
Oh, that's newer.
That had to hear that cry.
Yeah.
Within the past 10 years, yeah, it's definitely newer. And they also invite the dispatchers as well. But we've been neglected for so long that often a lot of things that I hear from dispatchers are they feel awkward being there.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I guess your command staff, it's not a command staff. You don't have a chief, right? I don't know the reporting structure in 911.
No, it's a director,
right?
and then a deputy director.
But that would be on the directors, like the police chief, to have a pulse on the staff and what the call. It's such a different discipline being a clinical social worker where we have supervision and we check in clinically and make sure you don't have that. And
people can absolutely fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like self-advocacy, but when you're struggling, you don't know, to your point, I don't even know what that is when you were experiencing it. I just need
Or
help.
You're in denial.
Yeah.
You're in denial, or you don't want to speak up, or you don't even know. Lots of bad. If you're struggling, but feel inadequate of being in the same room because you're not of that position or of that department, does that make you struggle any less?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And it's hard enough for anybody, I would think so, to ask for help. And then how do you navigate it and find it? So it's still how does it work for 911? Whose responsibility? Is it anybody's responsibility that they don't respectfully become a you where you were in that dark, dark place? How do you avoid that? Be even proactively that you don't have to call CISM.
I don't think you do. And I think that's one of the downfalls of our industry and why the turnover is so high and why the numbers of recruitment and people in seats are so low. Because I think that's one of the fatal flaws of our industry, where we exist off of that machismo or ignorance. And fortunately, a lot of the people just say, I'm out, and just walk away before they end up doing something to themselves.
Right. But they still carry all that with them, even if
wherever they
go.
go. Absolutely.
Are you talking 911 specifically or across the board with first responders, filling seats and?
Well, now that you put it that way, yeah. All across the board.
But initially you were thinking 911. Is there a high turnover for dispatchers?
911, not just Montgomery County, but
yeah, I'm just saying,
dispatch, absolutely. We do such a good job at checking locations and errors and problems and, quality and assurance for our professionalism on the phone or the radio, but we really do nothing for our own mental health.
Yeah, especially 911. Like I said, we're fortunate with TLC working with officer wellness, meaning being able, there was a situation at SEPTA yesterday and we have that relationship. Could we go down, and support the officers? We're like, of course, having this clinical backup and other departments we're working with. We have embedded some couple dispatchers in Newcastle, Delaware, mental health delegates, but we don't provide dispatcher wellness support,
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's kind of shift work and like officers, but you're tethered to your headset and a screen. And it's such a different, literally physical space.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you had a magic wand, what would it look like? Specifically with 911 dispatchers and wellness.
It's all about being genuine and being consistent. It's a hidden benefit and a hidden boon to know that you're taken care of. And one of the first things when I lead a debriefing is that if we're sitting in this room right now, regardless of what you think about your command staff, someone along that line cares about you. Because if they didn't, you wouldn't be sitting in this room with me right now.
They wouldn't have made the call.
Exactly. 911 is such a unicorn because we have everything. If it's reported, if it's called in through 911, we know it exists.
And I learned that from you and someone. I mean, they call for everything. Can you give one of the most ridiculous calls? Like, I'm just saying, like,
send me an officer to put lotion on my back.
All right, there's one.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good. Yeah.
What do you do with that?
Put a call in for the officer to put lotion on their back. And then it's up to the department and the officer whether or not they do it, of course.
But you have to take the call and you have to direct it.
Have to put it in.
You can never say seriously?
No.
Wow. That's stressful. On the one end, when you're dealing with, I don't want to make you relive any of the calls, but
no,
life
it's
and
fine.
death.
It's fine.
You know what I mean?
But absolutely. Your very next call could be a cardiac arrest where you're performing CPR with someone's loved one.
And you're over the phone coaching them,
coaching them and telling them what to do.
While they're screaming and
while
hysterical.
They're screaming and they're in their worst moment of their life.
And even if it's in the weeds of that. So you're doing that while you're dispatching? I mean, do you send out, how are you're talking about multitasking?
It's
right?
multitasking on a lot of levels, but there's actually different positions. So there's dispatchers for fire, dispatchers for police. There's people taking calls. But
if you're working with someone in crisis, that point, or trying to resuscitate someone, a vehicle, an ambulance, you've already deployed that, or through just understanding the workings of 911. We take it for granted. I know I can call 911, but how does it work?
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
So when we answer, it's where's your emergency, not what, because the location is the most important thing.
Okay.
We have to know where you need help. We could know there's a guy with a rocket launcher bazooka on the roof and he's getting ready to take out the whole building. That's great, but what building? Where?
So that's your first question.
First question, where? Where? If it's one thing that anybody learns from hearing this or listening to this, know where you are.
I always feel like, don't you ping it? Or with technology, wouldn't you know?
You can.
But it saves too much, not efficient.
Technology can be erroneous.
Right.
Technology can be wrong. And, you have to know where. So once you find out where, you find out what's going on. And then
while someone's in crisis and hysterical. So you're also doing your de-escalation, trying to just calm somebody down, provide support.
It's been a masterclass of de-escalation and patience my entire career.
Yeah. So the job has taught you that, or post your story?
That's a good question. I think the job has really taught me that, and it's something that I've really. My story has amplified that. It's made it count in my mind.
More purposeful. You're such a purposeful guy. It's been such great to know you over the last few months.
Why do anything without purpose? If you're
Wouldn't
going to
it
do
be nice?
something, if something is worth doing, you might as well do it with purpose.
For sure. But you've almost made this a calling, I think. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like beyond the scope of your work as a dispatcher.
Absolutely.
For sure.
100% a calling.
And can you talk a little bit more about that? What that means to you, why it became a calling, and what that calling is beyond doing a great job as a 911 dispatcher?
This is going to be going into the deep dive of the mind, right? All right. So I've worked holidays. I've worked my children's birthdays. I've worked anniversaries. I've worked birthdays. I've missed Christmases and New Year's and Thanksgivings with my family and the people that I love. Never once in my career have I ever woke up and said, I have to go to work. Because I don't view it as a job. I'm not going to make sandwiches from somewhere. Sorry for sandwich makers.
But you felt this way all the time again? Or I feel like there was that marker before you were in distress.
All the time. All the time.
So you were a purposeful guy. It wasn't just the air conditioning.
Well,
seriously, like you felt, and being a vet, it was something.
Well, being a vet and coming out, but really what triggered it was I was getting married. And I was like, I need a career now because these loss prevention jobs and these security jobs aren't cutting it. I need to start taking myself seriously if I want to raise a family. So the only thing that my military training gave me was be a cop. And again, I said, I don't want to carry a gun and invest. I'm done with that life. I want to be in the air conditioning. So I said, well, dispatch. Okay. And then that's how I kind of fell into it. I could type. I can talk. It was like, okay. But I never dreaded going to work. And yes, it's hard leaving. It's hard walking out the door. But once I walked out the door, it's like, okay, now I'm away from my family. I'm away from my children. I'm away from my wife. Let's make it worth it. Let's help someone. So instead of sitting on and just, another one of these, it's like, okay, this person needs help. So it's Christmas morning and I'm working and I'm away from my kids and I'm away from my wife. I don't want to be anywhere else in the world. I want to be with my family. But I'm talking to a lot of people that are calling 911 because their family is beating each other up and they don't want to be with their family. Or do heart attacks stop on Christmas? Do accidents stop on Christmas? Does crime stop on Christmas? No. The world always goes on. So someone's got to be there to answer the call. And I'm very proud of the fact that I'm one of the ones that do that.
But taking a little further, so it's kind of always been your calling? I mean, has that expanded or it's just been consistently you?
Seeing that what I do actually has real world results. It's easy to say 911 saves lives or go save a life. I don't really take that. I just say make a difference. Make a difference.
And I'm making fun, but like a sandwich maker, you hope finds purpose and someone is fulfilled. There's other ways I like to think I make a difference, but don't lead into that kind of daily stress and trauma and,
But I think that's what I have to do for myself to keep myself moving forward in a positive direction, 100 miles an hour. Because if not, then that leads me to potential distraction or questioning why am I doing this? What am I doing? Complacency. And I don't ever want to be complacent, not with my passion.
And so the passion is also, if I can, expand, is to support other first responders. It's being the best dispatcher you can be, showing up every day, knowing what you do matters. But I feel like the calling, that's what's bigger. It's an and.
Yeah, no, it's much bigger. And that came from my own experience there to the fact where, I would just go in and just do whatever I had to do to get by the 12 hours at first. But now I'm more actively interested in the room that I'm in. Oh, my colleague just took a shooting. How are you? Like making sure that the people around me are also operable, because again, it goes back to like we were talking about earlier. If we take that for granted that everyone's okay, we're in for a surprise because not everyone is okay.
But there's interesting. That's just an informal role. Like again, there's no where other departments are embedding, whether it's a co-responder or social service liaison.
I take that on myself because
when you're not there though, and the other you don't know if it's happening or
I don't know
or what is happening in other 911 centers.
I don't know.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten a call and just handed it off? Just say I can't. Are you allowed to do that?
No,
you're not allowed. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a ride along and officer's like, do you want to get out? I'm like, no, it's scary.
Who are you handing it off to?
Another dispatcher. No, I'm serious. If you just feel like I'm at capacity today, I can, you told me what, 200 calls a day?
The phone can ring up to 200 times. Yeah. 18,000 calls a year, I think, came through.
And it's just the flow. And if it's your cue or whatever, your turn, you grab
That's
it.
it. I mean, we're not superhuman. I mean, we're not robots. Sure, we're affected. But again, the service aspect of it that you need to get through this for this person comes through. And we support each other. Of course, when we know someone's on a rough call, we're ready.
You can kind of hear it, or how do you even know like what's coming in if you're not on it?
Oh, I mean, you hear it. It's like Grand Central Station around the room.
Mm-hmm. And,
you just click into over time keywords, stabbed where or shot where, or let's start compressions. Your ear just hears it and you go from there and you kind of just, whoop, what's going on?
Would you have checked in like this, or did you prior to your low point?
I like to keep humor afloat, but never like now, no. My incident is what caused me to do what I do. Again, I don't want anyone to be where I was.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do everything I can with purpose and power to make sure that they don't.
Are there any, I know you kind of touched on them peripherally, whatever, but any significant challenges or changes you would want to make to being a 911 dispatcher?
Yeah, we kind of touched on it earlier and I got sidetracked, I guess. We see everything. Every call that comes in 911, we see the most mundane to the most silly to the most serious. So why can't we take that system and do a psychological QA for our people? Why can't we take all the found that high priority calls that are traumatic or would be traumatic to take? If you're talking about an officer needs a CIS call or a CPR call or multiple CPR calls in a short amount of time, and just take that person aside and just check on them. Let them know, hey, we're looking at what you're doing. You're doing great. We've noticed that you've taken a lot of CPR calls lately. Are you okay? How are things going? Almost like a peer support.
Right. But almost standardized. Like you have the data.
Standardize
so
it.
let's just
use the data to help ourselves.
Right.
Why? I don't know why we don't.
Have you suggested it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Again, newer in the field for me, but things in law enforcement are changing. It's interesting, I think, and I put that in the intro about the 911, almost the silent heroes, where hopefully there will still be momentum to recognize you guys need it as much as any other first responder, that check-in, the officer wellness piece of it, the first responder wellness.
The fact of the matter is we're going into a new generation where there's a lot of stigmas. A lot of stigmas from the old school, a lot of stigmas from the bravado machismo. We don't talk about it. To talk about it is weakness. We don't,
and they shouldn't get to. It was a call. They're fine. Whatever. You did what you could do. Like just
minimum. The phone.
Right.
What's the matter to you? What do you? Oh, there's impact.
Yeah.
There absolutely is impact.
And so it was you're part of the CISM team, and I think also training may be something that you're interested or getting out. And do you do some training now on your own, or
no?
But you'd like to?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But
I think it's informal though. If you're talking to colleagues, that's like a one-on-one kind of
training. That is one-on-one.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right.
I agree with that. Yes, and it's my belief, and I'm happy to do so. And it's not, again, I don't get anything from it, but what I get from it is hopefully boosting this person up. At the very least, to be able to come back into work tomorrow. But at the very best, to improve their work environment and maybe their life as well. I mean.
Yeah. What advice would you give somebody that was thinking about going into the field to becoming a 911 dispatcher?
It's not it's nothing like they portray on TV.
I know, it looks really cool.
No, the actors and the actresses, they take an armed robbery followed by a volcano exploding, followed by, another super tragic incident. The thing that I always tell people that come in and shadow 911, and I tell trainees, is the major success to the job of 911 is being able to put up with the mundane tasks. I lost my cell phone, I'm at the station. The dog's barking next door. I need to talk to an officer because my identity was stolen. Over and over and over. And then out of left field,
boom.
Critical incident. So it's not like you're walking into critical incident after critical incident after critical incident. It's not a job that's 12 hours of critical incidents, but you need to have the fortitude to be able to get through the boring times. And then you need to be able to have the activity and action level to get through the critical incidents as they come up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and what a brain switch, right? Like put lotion on my back to I'm doing CPR. I can't even wrap my head around that. And
Or where are you? I mean, in such a large entity like Montgomery County, with where are you? You know, a person, and this is by no means where it is, but a person in Douglas is asking for lotion to be put on their back. Your very next call, you're in Abington doing CPR. Totally across the county. Different demographics, addresses, numbers, just all day long getting thrown at you. Yeah, that absolutely pays a toll.
Yeah. It's been such an interesting conversation. I know for me personally, I hope people listen to learn more about what happens almost behind the scenes in real life 911 dispatching, not TV. You sharing your story and your struggles, and people are going to be listening, not necessarily seeing you, but you just seem happy and passionate. And
absolutely. Yeah. It's not struggles now, Julie.
No, I know, but you're living your purpose, right?
Absolutely.
And how you've reframed things and talk about like paying it forward or being such an instrument of change and support. Is there anything I didn't ask that you'd like to share?
Everybody out in the community just feels that first responders are robots. We don't take for granted that these are just people like you and I, police officers, firefighters, paramedics, dispatchers, even go beyond that to the nursing field or the medical field of nurses and doctors. They aren't robots. They're people that have problems and struggles and ups and downs in everyday life as everyone else. And they're in the area to do things that the typical person doesn't want to do. And unfortunately, they're also held in the scope of, in being a robot, that they're not allowed to struggle and that they're not allowed to have a bad day or a bad shift or a bad moment. But the fact of the matter is being human, you're going to have your bad times. I think we need to take away those glasses of superheroes or robotics and put in the scope of the lens that they are humans and humanize them and not, think of them as something other than what they are. Part of the stigma that put us in this to begin with was, it's kind of a catch-22. If an officer speaks up, that means they're weak. If they're weak and they have a problem, they're going to lose their gun, their badge, and their profession that they've been dreaming about since they were a kid. So I'm not going to speak up. That doesn't stop the bad things from happening. That doesn't stop critical incidents from happening to that officer at work. And also, life doesn't stop. On top of the critical incidents that you're seeing at work, bills still have to be paid. Relationships still have to.
Unfortunately, now that is a misnomer. You're not going to lose your badge, your gun, your job if you speak up. So I think, right.
That's what I'm saying. That's where the change needed to come in. And unfortunately, before that became you and I are sitting here talking about this as it's accepted across the board. Unfortunately, it's not. The agencies that we deal with and the agencies that we have our hands out to is an opportunity to. But there's places in this country that still abide by those old rules. And it's unfortunate and it's sad. But the catch-22 is if they don't speak about it and they don't bring it up, then they're not going to get help. They're going to lose their profession that they love. And if they do bring it up. So we're going to keep quiet. And then conversely, they either step away from the job or eat their service revolver.
Yeah.
Neither of which the final two options are not acceptable. So we need to do something as far as breaking these stigmas. Yeah. And I think humanizing and understanding that they are just humans, it goes a long way with that.
And sharing your story is so powerful, and hopefully people listen, like you are a person that can totally relate, identify, got support, and keep moving forward.
I'm a testament. Yeah. And I've said it in the past, I've been to the dark side and I've returned. I was in a place where I didn't think I was going to have a career or even make it out. But here I am, stronger than I was before. And not only that, but also dragging as many people as I can forward with me.
It's been such a pleasure, Craig. I really appreciate your time and the conversation, and I learned a lot. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I love being here. Thanks for having me again.
TLC Connections is supported in part by the Lincoln Center for Family and Youth through education, counseling, coaching, and consulting. We empower people to make positive choices, meaningful connections, and transformational change. To learn more, visit thelincolncenter.com.